What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Duo box with the new layout. Harrison's enjoying his final days as a bartender, and he's drunk like Alexei Shostakov.
We are the StreamerSZN.
What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome back to another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB and Christian coming at you, just the two of us. Harrison may or may not be on his Alexi grind, like we mentioned. In
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try.
Just the two of us. Anyway.
We're going to be breaking down a bunch of The Last of Us, episodes 2, 3, and 4 on this episode. And yes, we know Andor is out right now. I just have not had time to sit and watch. I got a bone to pick with Tony Gilroy. I appreciate his artistry. I appreciate his vision. Whoever greenlit the 3 episodes a week thing, I just want to.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily sure that was a Tony decision.
Agreed.
But it needs to die on a fire.
Oh my God, it's so stressful.
You either release them weekly, or you don't.
Release them weekly or put everything all out at once and let people watch them as they can. 3 episodes a week, especially when you got a hell of a lot of content creators out there who cover the TV and movie space and the Star Wars space just in particular. That's a lot of homework to be doing. And
we work full time.
Yes. And I have not been able to sit down and watch Andor yet. So our Andor breakdowns will come when they happen.
But maybe our poker face talks will come sooner.
Bingo. But before we get into The Last of Us, more news, and I am fresh off of seeing Thunderbolts, asterisk. Christian is fresh off seeing Thunderbolts, asterisk. We're going to be breaking down the Thunderbolts on this episode. So if you have not seen the Thunderbolts, when we get to that section, we will give a proper spoiler warning because we are men of honor on this show.
Are we, though?
Depends on who you talk to. We will give a proper spoiler warning, but just be prepared. We're going to be talking full movie. We're going to be talking end credit scenes. We're going to be talking a little bit of future stuff, a whole lot. So be prepared. Put your Thunderbolt caps on, asterisk, and be ready because it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into all of that, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN across the board, and on TikTok at StreamerSZN Pod. Subscribe to the pod. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. Helps more people find not only StreamerSZN, but every show on our network, which includes Underground Sports Philadelphia, Outside the Box, Get in the Hole, Underground Circuit, Top Bins, you name it, it's there. Go subscribe on Apple and Spotify, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We're at 1,056 subscribers, which means we are just a small 44 away from our next 100 subscriber milestone. So keep subscribing. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. Christian, The Last of Us. This show I genuinely stored it away for a good year and a half, 2 years, about how much this show genuinely fucks my brain up.
You forget how much of a horror game it is until you remember, oh, wait.
And then half the time I'm like, this doesn't feel like a game, everyone. This does not feel like a game.
It's time to play the game.
The Last of Us Season 2, obviously we did our initial breakdown. Harrison is waiting to binge the entire thing, so we'll get his whole take on it once it's all out. But we haven't been able to sit down and record just because of crazy schedules, so we're going to be breaking down episode 2, 3, and 4 of The Last of Us, and we're recording this the night that episode 4 debuted. So we'll have fresh takes on that for sure. But before we get into all of that, want to talk to you guys about our awesome pals over at Shopify. Guys, Shopify is the one-stop place for making sure that your business is running smoothly, connecting you with customers, whether it's on the internet, in person. They're going to make sure that your business is up to snuff, making sure you're selling your product at a rate that makes you successful. Use the link in the description, shop with Shopify, and make sure that you're reaching the clientele that you're trying to reach for your products, whether it be an internet business, an in-person business, or both. Shopify is the place to do it. So use that link in the description and get selling with our friends at Shopify. All right, Christian. The Last of Us. Like I said, I continue. Even week in and week out as this season has been going on, I continue to be like, I'm going to put my foot down. I'm not going to watch this show at night. And then what do I find myself doing? I find myself watching this show in the wee hours of the night. And I just continually want to like punch myself in the face for doing it, because this show knows how to make a grown man shake in his boots.
He shakes in his boots, folks.
Quite literally shaking in my boots.
What's he gonna do next? Well, I mean, it doesn't help that it's a 9 p.m. HBO show.
Literally, like, who thought that was the smart thing? I mean, obviously it's the smart thing, but like, who said, yeah, let's make let's make the Sunday scaries even scarier than they already are, and make everyone want to shit themselves by watching these behemoth, evil, infected humans run rampant on society. And my dad was asking me the other day, said, what do you know about this show, The Last of Us? My dad is very, very behind in catching up on shows when they are currently running. For context, Christian, he and my mom just started watching, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, just started Breaking Bad.
See, here's the thing, though. I haven't started Breaking Bad yet.
Neither have I.
So that's not that bad.
But yeah, he's like, what do you know about this show, The Last of Us? And I was like, well, it's terrifying as all hell. And what I do know is you are the type of person that cannot watch this show at night, if I know you.
Let me tell you something, my friend.
It is, it just continues to terrify me in a multitude of ways.
It's spooky.
And the way I described it to my mom, too, because she was like inquiring, and I was like, it makes the Demogorgons from Stranger Things look like puppies. Like, I would 1000% sign up to be around a Demogorgon more than I would around the Clickers.
Kyle 2025. I would much rather
put it on a quote card. I'm probably gonna regret it when the final season of Stranger Things comes out and they're gonna be on equal playing fields. But you know, we're effectively halfway through the season now, because it's a 7-episode season this season. What are your overall takeaways so far in how they've progressed and continued here in season 2? And for context, if you're new to the show, Christian and I both have not played the video game, so we don't have that background into the show, but we still enjoy the fuck out of the show. But through 4 episodes, Christian, where do you stand on how this season's kind of living up to the initial season?
Underwhelmed.
Interesting.
Now, this past episode tonight was what is very much a pivot point. Where, and we'll talk into this. We've already kind of talked about how we felt about the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
This episode finally started to get something going for me. And so now we're in a spot where I feel very much like, okay, like we're heading somewhere, and this is going in a way where I'm not hating it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I would say underwhelmed. I would just say like a lot of,
you were whelmed.
A lot of like unexpected, from obviously not knowing how the video game progresses, and then seeing breakdowns of like what's similar to the video game, what's not. I do feel like they took certain creative liberties that in the video game, a lot of that stuff kind of like progresses through as just like a blank cut screen, and then it's like, boom, we're here. But because it's a TV show, you can't really always do that. So I think we got a lot of, for lack of a better term, like unnecessary fluff or filler because it's a TV show and where they want to progress it from a for TV aspect. But nonetheless, the show still got me quaking in my boots, and it's unbelievable what they're able to convey with this shit.
It's got you shaking in your boots.
Shaking in my goddamn boots. So let's get into episode 2, which is Through the Valley. This episode had me very much up at night because of that one scene. Episode 2 definitely set the tone, I think, for factions this season. Overall, if you can remember from when...
Two and 3, because while we got introduced to the early state, the splinter of one faction, really last episode gave us the other two, gave us the full version of one faction and teased the other one.
Yeah.
Which we got a gruesome image of in this past.
So episode 2, here's the plot breakdown. I know it's been a couple weeks, but if you haven't, go watch Last of Us. It's unbelievable. So sheltering with her group in an abandoned lodge near Jackson, Wyoming, Abby has a dream in which she warns her past self not to enter the room in which her father was killed. When she awakens, she focuses on her mission to kill Joel, while her friends, concerned about the town's security and her lack of a plan, consider retreating. Abby leaves to survey Jackson, and her friend Owen tells the rest of the group that he will try to convince her to return to Seattle. I also love that the Falcon from the MCU is in this show, and he is Danny in the MCU, and he's Manny in The Last of Us. Never fails to make me be like, oh,
hey,
variant.
It could always be worse. You could be Bob and Bob.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Ellie tells Jesse that she wants to go on patrol with Joel, but Jesse informs her that he has already left with Dina. Abby accidentally awakens a large horde of infected hiding under the snow. I gotta say, this scene from just a TV aspect was...
Oh, hell no.
I was like, oh my God. Unbelievable. Like the way that shit just came together, and the whole just like plot point of like the infected were using themselves as like insulation, and they just come up from the ground. I was like, this is fucking psychotic. Whoever thought of this shit, like, give their brain all of the awards, because no way in hell could my normal thinking brain ever conjure up something like this.
Well, I guess that's just because you're not infected.
That's very true. So Abby awakens a large horde of infected hiding under the snow and is rescued by Joel and Dina. In Jackson, the infected tendrils are discovered, redirecting the horde to the town, leading to a battle in Jackson, in which Jackson suffers heavy damage and casualties. Tommy defends his wife Maria against a bloater, by drawing it away and killing it with a flamethrower. That motherfucker was big as shit.
Yeah, he was a
Like-
big. It took almost whatever was in that gas can.
Literally, like that's like Shaquille O'Neal if he was a bloater. That thing was huge.
Shaq, season 3, buddy.
That whole scene though, I gotta say, like that was like the whole like Abby drawing them up from underneath the snow. The whole fence scene had me like I was numb watching that. And just the way they shot that was so well done. Because it felt like you were playing a video game while watching it too, which was really cool. And like that whole sequence of events really was just like, yeah, this is an HBO show.
Yep.
So Abby lures Joel and Dina to the lodge, saying she has friends who can help them defend Jackson. And after knocking out Dina, Abby reveals herself to be the daughter of the Firefly doctor who Joel killed in Salt Lake City.
Knocking out, drugging.
Tomato, you know. I think there's they do it a different way in the video game too. I forget exactly what they do, but that the way that they quote unquote knock her out in the show is different from the video game. She shoots Joel in the knee with a shotgun and repeatedly hits his knee with a golf club, and goddamn, that shit made my skin crawl.
Just do it already.
Oh, goddamn. She beats him until the club breaks in two, and if you've ever used a golf club once in your life, it's pretty goddamn difficult to do that.
Shout out Steve McAvoy.
Shout out Stevie Mac. Ellie, who had been searching for Joel and Dina, is restrained and forced to watch as Abby kills Joel by impaling his neck with the broken club. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Unbelievable shit. Ellie swears to kill Abby as revenge, but the group spares her and leaves. Jackson begins to recover from the carnage of the battle as Ellie, Dina, and Jesse return home with Joel's body.
Yep.
Just unbelievable human on human carnage. Justice for Pedro Pascal. I was not mentally prepared for the way that he was going to die. And goddamn, this episode was fucking crazy. Overall thoughts on just the way that this episode built off of episode 1. Were you surprised not knowing the video game lore that Pedro got killed off in episode 2 of 7?
So my problem is I knew the lore because I had a friend who played the games and everything. So ultimately, I knew that was going to happen. It was just a question of when.
Mm-hmm.
This episode still kind of had a little bit of episode 1 syndrome, where I'm like, we're kind of exposition dumping a lot here. Like, did Ellie and Jesse just spending all that time, and we're lore dumping Eugene, who we know we're going to get flashbacks to later. And apparently in the game, supposedly, it was it was Tommy and Joel who were grabbed by Abby and co. Abby, all due respect to Caitlin Deaver, love her as an actress. Why do we need a monologue? Why do we need a monologue? Like, this has good moments. It's just feels drawn out at points. And that's kind of a theme for me for the first 3 episodes of the season.
I'm also extremely dumb because I meant to say that Danny Ramirez, the actor who plays the Falcon and is also man, that's his real name is Danny, not his name in the MCU. He's Joaquin Torres. I'm just dumb and stupid. But yeah, episode 2 on Rotten Tomatoes ended up with a 9.1 out of 10 based on 28 reviews and a 96% overall rating.
Feels a little high.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a show that I'm willing to judge more on the longer scale thing. But there was definitely a problem with the first 3 episodes where it was kind of a lot of exposition-y. It was a lot of world dump. And now episode 2 was the best of the first 3, in my opinion. But I think when we get to 4 is clearly the best of the season so far for my liking.
Yes, we get to episode 3 titled The Path, which definitely took a lot of creative liberties on switching some things up from the video game itself, but I think a lot of those changes made sense. So in the aftermath of the infected attack on Jackson, Wyoming, and Joel's death, Tommy cleans Joel's body, notices his wristwatch, obviously, and then it kind of does a really cool TV thing where it pans out and you see just dozens upon dozens of bodies, and it's like, while yes, like this massive loss was huge of Joel, there was a shit ton of people that died. So Ellie is admitted to a hospital and wakes up screaming upon remembering Joel's death. That was one of the most gut-wrenching screams I've ever heard in television.
Yeah, quite a scream.
It was quite a scream. 3 months later, we jump ahead. While Jackson is still being rebuilt, Ellie is deemed physically ready to leave the hospital. So 3 months later would put them at like April, because that attack happened on New Year's. So Ellie's deemed physically ready to leave the hospital. She had a psychological evaluation with Gail, who asked her about her feelings on Joel's death and references their last session together, where he expressed that he saved Ellie. Though Gail probes for information, Ellie claims not to know what he was referencing and insists she has mentally recovered. Also, Gail is a for TV character. She does not exist in the video games. She visits Joel's house, mourning him until Dina arrives and tells her that a group who killed Joel, members of the Washington Liberation Front, also known as a Wolf, are based in Seattle. And at a town hall meeting, several townspeople oppose sending a group to Seattle to track them down. Seth angrily argues that they should send the group to defend Jackson and its reputation by going after those who were responsible for Joel's death. And Ellie reads a letter persuading the council to send the group out of justice, not revenge. The council rejects the proposal by majority, and Tommy speaks with Gail and expresses his worry that Ellie will be out of control, and Gail tells him that people cannot be saved from themselves and their actions. As Ellie prepares to leave for Seattle alone, Dina tells her she will join, and Seth provides them with a horse and supplies and helps them leave quietly. Here's my thing with this episode, and I think a lot of people have felt this way too. I don't think we need an entire scene sequence of the town hall meeting.
This is kind of in my like exposition dumpy thing where is it good that we had the guy make the speech? Yes. Did we need to have Ellie do the speech? Yes. Did we really need to read off every vote? I mean, it works well for dramatic effect, but this entire episode could have been a PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's realistically, you could have made this 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, because apparently
in its best version,
that whole scene doesn't occur in the games either. It's like kind of a cut to, oh, they're going to Seattle. Like you could have cut that whole scene to just kind of commotion in the town hall meeting, and then cutting to Ellie reading her shit off and Seth doing his thing, and it would have been the same exact scene.
Pretty much, yeah.
So the following morning, Ellie leaves coffee beans on Joel's grave as she and Dina travel to Seattle. They discuss their kiss at the New Year's Eve party, claiming it meant nothing. Dina says she thinks Jesse is sad, suspecting he is inherently so. and fearing it otherwise may be due to her. Outside the city, Ellie and Dina encounter a group of dead Seraphites, including a young girl causing Dina to vomit. And they arrive in Seattle and notice a lack of Wolf members. Meanwhile, a convoy of dozens and dozens of Wolf soldiers march through the streets of Seattle with several armored vehicles. We also cut to the Seraphites and everything, and I think if you never played the video game, you were kind of confused watching that scene a bit, being like, who the fuck are these guys?
Well, boy, do we get a good clue in episode 4.
Do we ever? What did you make of that whole sequence where it kind of just cuts to these random characters, this random group of people that we have never been introduced to before in the show?
Yeah. Similar to episode 1, but in a different way. This was a world expedition dump rather than like, this is where these people are expedition dump. That was episode 1.
Yeah. That
Like,
was crazy.
I don't really want to try and talk through 3 that much, just because to me there's so little that tangibly happens that we can talk about that I feel like we're better served spending our time elsewhere.
Like I enjoyed episode 3, but
Oh, yeah.
there were parts that I was like, damn, like we could have gotten different things in this episode rather than spending X amount of time at the town hall meeting, spending X amount of time doing this. And somehow, some way, The Path got a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 22 reviews.
Yeah. See, this is why you should look at Metacritic.
But I enjoyed episode 3. Like I said, there was just, it felt very video gamey, but in a sense where I couldn't click X to speed up through the sequence.
Yeah.
Let us go to episode 4.
One day, or day 1, I should say.
Day 1. Rule of thumb: don't watch this episode at night, because goddamn. First things first, I was not expecting Josh Peck to be getting the episode.
I heard that voice in the show. I'm like, whoa, hold on, because
wait a minute.
This and I'm sure Josh will talk about it on his next podcast episode.
Yes,
but this definitely feels like he played the game, and season 2 it was like, hey, I want to get involved in this some way, even if I die, I don't care. Yes. And they're like, so hi, and it's like, sold.
I love how when you Google The Last of Us season 2 episode 4, the first thing under the people also ask tab is Josh Peck in The Last of Us 2? This episode was a banger for sure. It had quite a few moments where I was like, I remembered how much this show mentally fucks you up. But again, was not expecting Josh Peck. I wasn't expecting such a cold open like that, in a sense, where it was like, here's how we're opening this episode. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't expecting that from this episode per se. It was an interesting way to get the episode started with the whole sequence with the soldiers and everything.
Well, so this was very much setting up next week. If you'd seen the teaser, where basically that woman who, if I understood the teaser correctly, is basically the head of Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if you notice, Jeffrey Wright's Isaac was wearing a Fedra.
Yes.
And so he basically turned bad. I don't know what term you want to use, which,
yeah.
Can we just talk about him taking the one innocent guy out and it's like, okay.
That's our good
Casually,
friend Jeffrey Wright. That's our good friend Christian.
hopefully one day friend of the pod status.
For those of you that don't know, this is breaking the fourth wall. Christian and I met Jeffrey Wright last September. So he's now our good personal friend.
God, that was September. Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, time's weird. But yeah, we met Jeffrey Wright, so cool to see our good personal friend Jeffrey Wright in The Last of Us reprising his role from the video game.
yeah. But him just casually walking back, tossing in the 2 grenades and shutting the door. It's like, cheers, mate.
Golly. And that wasn't the only thing that was like, Jesus Christ, that Jeffrey Wright did in this episode.
There was like 4 or 5 just overall Jesus Christ moments. If we want to get to this, get to the second Jeffrey one, where I would just say it's such a classic thing where it's like someone opens up monologuing about something innocuous, and then it's like,
what up, Jizz boy?
well, no, just when he goes like. Just when he goes like, copper pots are not the best for torture, and then just paints the guy change the law. It's like, oh fuck. Well, it was so nice. There was a conversation about class and everything. It's like, no, I'm just here to torture information out of you. Thank you.
But yeah, Josh's monologue to start the episode was like, geez, ew. I also love what Esquire says in their breakdown of the episode. It says, what in the gratuitous Josh Peck cameo is this? For the love of God, don't hug me, brother.
Yeah, it was distracting in a bad way, but I had a fun time.
Yes. Also, I was like trying to, because the beginning shows like a timestamp of 2018. Like, was that a flashback or was that a like time jump?
No, it was a flashback.
Okay.
Because because it's then immediately followed by the title card 11 years later when it cuts back to Ellie and all them.
True. But yeah, where do we even begin this episode? Because
Jeffrey Wright as a master torturer who or should I call him a cultured sicko? Where he's able to muse about being a good cook and about fine copper pans from what was it? It was not the warehouse store. It started with an S. Samson Brothers? No. Fuck.
damn, I forget.
Oh no, hold on. No. No, it's not Schmidt Brothers. This is gonna drive me crazy. Not Crate and Barrel. Oh, William Sonoma?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Andy just goes, you won't know what that is.
So we get the flashback to kind of show and introduce Jeffrey Wright's character, who, like we said, also played this role in the video game. And back then, Seattle was an official quarantine zone, where like federal officers harassed civilians and laughed about it later. And Isaac was a federal sergeant so disillusioned with the group that he not only defeated but murdered his whole platoon to prove his loyalty to Wolf leader Hanrahan, played by Alana Eubank. So we get all of that, and then we also get that torture scene in this one where Jeffrey Wright is just absolutely mutilating one of the Seraphites with a hot ass frying pan. to get information out of him, and that boy is staying true to his religion.
Yeah. And speaking of the Seraphites, who we saw brutally murdered by a wolf in episode 3, Ellie and Dina, in their ventures into Seattle, come across the, I don't know what to call it, of the religious cult. Does it classify as torture if it's like a occult religious thing? Is it an occult religious thing where you're chaining people up? I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild. That whole thing, I was like, oh my god, like it made my skin crawl.
See, I'm used to seeing fucked up shit like that, so I'm like, oh, cool, sick.
Um,
Paying no mind here.
so we get all of that, which then we start hearing noises.
Oh no, hold on. First, well, are you talking about the wolf soldiers coming in?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the other time. We were making sense.
That comes right after. So they come in there and they've got their flashlights beaming and everything. Ellie and Dina are hiding.
And they see their comrades.
And then I'm just like, oh fucking Christ.
Oh dear. How are you going to get out of this one?
And then Dina's doing a little count up, if you will. And we go from 1 to 5 noises.
No. You're skipping ahead. She was doing that in the tunnel.
Wasn't that in the room that they broke into?
No, I thought that was in the tunnel. When they were hearing the sounds and she just kept counting. Did she do it twice in this episode?
I thought that was like the wolf people like broke in to the room.
No. So it was, guys, we're doing this live on the pod. No, it was they heard the wolf people and saw the flashlights, so they went and hid. Ellie is then sneaking away. Ends up fighting and with help with Dina killing 2 wolves.
Yes.
And they end up crawling into the tunnel.
Yeah, so then they're in the tunnel.
And the wolves end up throwing flares. I'm like, oh great. And then you hear sounds.
It's like, you big dumb dipshits.
And you hear counting. And you see her counting. And famous last words by the idiots. I thought this place was supposed to be empty, as we hear a horde of clickers coming, and Dina goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just her face gets instantly more worried, and you're like, oh, swell.
It's like, god damn it.
And then it's the fucking horde.
Oh. I don't know what was worse because they were in a confined area in this episode. What would you say is worse? The way that those ones popped up out of the fucking void, no pun intended for later, or episode 2 when they're just unearthed from underneath the snow?
I think I would say the latter, just because it's like they're in a subway tunnel. Like there's probably something hiding down there, so I'm not like it's a subway tunnel.
Yeah. Ugh. Damn clickers, man. And then on top of it, it's just as eerie and just as grotesque as when Abby is going up against that chain link fence in episode 2.
Yeah, that was the real parallel I drew, where it's like this is close combat versus clickers, and it's not fun.
No,
It's
and
not fun.
it gives me anxiety through the roof. And somehow, some way, there was a gun on the ground in the one subway car, and Ellie goes full
Re-
Danny DeVito, and she started blasting.
Bang, 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 bang.
Also eerie skeleton just on the fucking floor of that subway car.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Yes, 1000%. So then they go up through the roof hatch of that subway car, run across the top like subway surfers, and then stumble upon the rustiest turnstile I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Jesus Christ, man.
I was watching it with my mom. She actively said that, well, she thought they were going the wrong way in the turnstile, and that's why it wasn't working.
Oh, and then they're going through, and then Ellie gets bit, and I audibly said, "What the fuck, man?" That shit was nasty. And now
What
you
the
got
fuck, Richard?
Dina on edge, and I knew like some shit was gonna pop off there where like Dina's like, "What the fuck did she just do? Now I gotta kill her."
Almost?
Almost. There, and then they go to the house right after that.
Nope. It's not a house. It's a movie theater.
Hey, could be a house. I'd live in a movie theater.
I have a dream.
And Dina whips that thing out. She got that gun pointed right at Ellie, and
You
can't
got some
blame her.
explaining to do, Lucy.
You can't blame her, because she has no idea that Ellie's immune, and she just in real time watched her love interest get the shit bit out of her, and she did it pretty much willingly to protect her. Ellie's got to talk her off the edge, and is like, "I'm immune. Don't shoot me. Like, we're gonna be fine."
I'm not the crook.
And then water starts splashing on Ellie's face. She wakes up. She's like, "Can I show you the bite mark?
Can I show you my scars?
You want to know how I got these scars?" And then Dina lets Ellie know that she is indeed pregnant. And I knew this part was coming, because Homegirl got sick in that last episode, and she done seen some shit, and she got some moaning sickness, but not before Ellie and Dina, they Marvin Gaye and got it on.
Let's get it on. Do, do.
Shout out to Ellie. Ellie on her big spoon grind. Were you this is how my brain was thinking, because Ellie did not recover her wound. I was just like, Ellie, you're putting your arm down Dina's pants pretty far, and
My mind didn't go there, brother.
I wasn't not even from that, but I was just like, you got a whole ass open wound where you just got bit, and I understand you're immune, but my brain of just like, that's an open wound. Like, if that like gets on Dina, like, is she fucked?
I mean, that's an interesting thought. I'll give you that.
Just in like, even when they were just like waking up cuddling in the morning, I was like, Ellie, you did not put that bandage back on your arm. But I guess she's immune, that it just neutralizes it on the spot.
It don't matter.
And then Ellie's gonna be a dad. What a
Did
line.
it?
What a line. We're all gonna have a baby. It is Jesse's, right?
It is Jesse's.
Implying that Dina's a hooer. But then we hear their radio go off. They kind of have an idea of where some things are going to be thanging. They go up top, And Ellie's like, you can stay here. And Dina's like, fuck you. I'm coming with you. And we're off. Seattle's a wild, wild place.
We have drug addicts in the subway. We got wars in the streets. We need law and order, folks.
Seattle is far more intense than I ever thought it was ever going to be. I was
Yeah,
like, Seattle's known for being this mellow place in real life, and here we are just popping off every which way because Seattle's just the land of Kurt Cobain and apparently full of clickers. Ugh. Disgusting. What was your overall takeaway from this episode? I know you said it was kind of a turning point episode per se, but what did you make of episode 4, day 1?
This felt like the first time we had actual, like, proper forward momentum in terms of something having, like, kind of relatively tangible stakes, but also at the same time, we could watch it and be like, don't fully know where this is going, but I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
And it's just, we finally got back to like, oh right, this world is fucked.
Yeah.
Because like they try and do it in the second episode, and they like did it with the one moment in the at the start of the third, but they probably were just like, right, let's get back to the roots of the show. This world is fucked.
Yeah, and kudos to the director of this episode is
Katie Heron.
Yeah, who, if you don't know, Katie Heron, she also directed and was the executive producer on the first season of Loki. We ain't see shit like that in Loki.
TV PG? TV what?
Quite the episode. Next week, I think it's only going to get even more ridiculous because Stephen Williams is directing. Christian, if you don't know Stephen Williams, everybody, he worked as a regular director on the ABC drama series Lost, where he was a co-executive producer.
So funny you bring up Lost. Watching this week's episode, my mom remarked that this music reminded her of Lost.
Yeah, he's worked on Lost. He's worked on The Walking Dead. How to Get Away with Murder. He worked on an episode of. Yeah, I'm terrified for next week. He also worked on one season of Watchmen in 2019.
I mean, wasn't there just one season of Watchmen? Wasn't there just one season of it?
That's all it's listed as. Don't shoot the messenger. But yeah, I'm not prepared for next week. I'll tell you that much.
I watched the preview. I'm going to be scared shitless. So many clickers.
Ugh. It's the worst. The worst. I fucking hate those things.
You're the worst.
I try my best. Where do we sit at the midway point in terms of just how you feel this season's going to level out?
Cautiously optimistic, but I need more like the last episode and not like the first 3.
So you want me to be sick to my stomach and terrified going to bed on a Sunday?
I want to feel something.
Christian, don't tell me you're in the void.
Aren't we all?
But that is our Last of Us breakdown. Let us know if you're watching The Last of Us, how you're feeling about it. You can leave a comment in the YouTube comment section, or you can leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/StreamerSZN, StreamerSZN, and we'll play the voicemails on the episodes each and every week. So leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/StreamerSZN. And before we keep it pushing, want to talk to you guys about our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, if you want to stand out in the crowd, when I went and saw the Thunderbolts asterisk today, I was wearing my StreamerSZN hoodie because that is my go-to when I go to the movie theater. Stand out in the crowd. Get your StreamerSZN official merchandise from PHI Apparel Company. Use the link in the description or go to phiapparel.co. And when you go to checkout, use code UNDERGROUND and you'll get 10% off your next merch order from PHI Apparel Company. Again, that's phiapparel.co, code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next merch order. Stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. All right, everyone. It's Thunderbolts time. Christian, let the people know what the spoiler warning is.
Senator Barnes, StreamerSZN audience, this is Red Guardian. Please, if you have not watched our heroes fight mental illness and various other issues, pause podcast. Go see Thunderbolts asterisk. Then come back and enjoy our goofy, insightful, wonderful, mega, with a Z at the end, conversation. Here we go, Thunderbolts.
There it is. Thunderbolts asterisk. If you guys know me, if you have been listening to this podcast, you know I have been waiting for this movie to culminate for about 4 years.
More than the Fantastic Four.
Yes, far more. I've been so excited about this movie, and I'm so thrilled that I avoided pretty much any and all spoilers. I only watched 2 trailers because I was like, I want to go into this as blind as possible to just enjoy something that I've been waiting for so long. I loved damn near every aspect of this movie. The way that it was portrayed, the way that they brought the characters into the plot, the way, I think my biggest question was going to be, how does Bucky get involved with the Thunderbolts? And I thought they did a pretty solid job of saying, this is how Bucky gets involved with the Thunderbolts. And I think my largest takeaway from this was this felt like old school Marvel in a sense where I have not seen Brave New World yet. I didn't have to see Brave New World to understand 99.9% of this movie. And I loved the fuck out of that.
This movie, and I really thought about this on my drive home from seeing it last night. Is the best movie in terms of grounding us in the characters and actually examining them since the first half of Endgame, or excluding Endgame Black Panther.
Agree wholeheartedly.
Because in Black Panther, you had the ultra layered nature of it with Black Panther and Killmonger. You had the whole parental issues. You had isolationism and everything. In the first half of Endgame, you were dealing with depressed Thor, depressed Cap and Natasha. You're dealing with a coping Tony. It's very much this these people are human, and basically all the Thunderbolts are human.
Mm-hmm.
And you take these humans who have their own issues, who have their own lives, and you pair him with a anti-hero, I'm just gonna say, because he is two-faced in a both heroic and villainous way. Who has his own self-questioning, but also has the dark side, which plays into all their issues. And it's kind of the first time, I think, in a long time where I'm like, they get it again.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, we tried doing a lot of these solo films, and while I won't exactly call like Multiverse of Madness a solo film, because you had America Chavez and everything, these Marvel films need to be at least three-handers. Where, like, Shang-Chi's a good idea in principle, but really all Shang-Chi was, and I'm someone who really enjoyed the first 2/3 of that movie, it was an excuse to do kung fu action and then have a guy basically confronting his relationship with his father. And you kind of had the sister to bounce off, but really, like, she didn't have as much of a root in the story. Here we basically have two fully fleshed out characters, one who we kind of loosely remembered their existence, one power broker, not that power broker, one man who's trying to find his way in a new landscape. Well, two men, I should say. And then you have basically the embodiment of humanity in Sentry in the Void.
Yeah.
Now, this movie's not perfect by any means, but on the MCU scale, this is in the upper quartile at worst.
Yeah, I fully was like blown away when I saw Eric Voss's quote card get used in the commercial saying it's the best Marvel movie since Endgame. And I walked out of the movie theater today and I said, I understand. I will listen to that argument, and I kind of believe it.
Yeah, so I very much will stand by that argument too, because while we all like No Way Home ostensibly, if you remove the three Peters, that movie doesn't work.
Same thing with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, it was those two movies.
Deadpool and Wolverine is an even worse case, because that movie's literally just like trying to play on the Deadpool thing, but in the most like craven commercial way, where I maybe laughed 3 times during that movie.
Well, I say those two are similar because everyone, and I objectively enjoyed both of those movies very much.
I did not enjoy Deadpool at all.
But a lot of it is filtered through nostalgia.
Well, so my counter is Deadpool is just unadulterated nostalgia, whereas No Way Home at least like used the nostalgia as a means of character development and kind of got to close the loop on those past stories and those past Spider-Men, and kind of set us a new world going forward, even though like we have maybe had like 2 or 3 mentions in the last 4 years of just no one knowing who Spider-Man is. So it kind of has felt like it's been insignificant, the events of that movie at this point. But this one, I think, and there's various aspects I want to talk to, but this is, and it's telling by, if you look at the joke A24 trailer they made, but it's like, oh, there was actual thought put into the making of this. Just like even in the first scene where after Florence Pugh, God bless her, Florence Pugh to the moon, just what second best actress under 35. The only person beating her is Saoirse Ronan, who's like 31 and has 6 Oscar nominations. Like shrug. After she beats up the guard outside, the shadows of the fight, like this is a movie that is like smart in the way in terms of it shoots a lot of different things and how it emphasizes the shadows at various points, and it has the wherewithal to actually manage a tonal balance of like really dark personal and also just screwball comedy.
Yeah. Also, absolutely incredible. The director of the Thunderbolts, Jake Schreier, also directed one of Kendrick Lamar's music videos in 2022.
That's
Just
great.
incredible.
So let's quickly touch on a few things here before we get on the scenes. Let's talk about Bob, aka Sentry, aka the Void, which I love how his name is Bob Robert and his character in Top Gun Maverick, Bob. Just so great Lewis Pullman, son of Bill Pullman, aka the president of the United States in Independence Day, or Lone Star in Spaceballs, for those of you who also love your Mel Brooks movies. He's the perfect mix of like can like turn to menacing, but also is just like a really goofy fucking dude.
Yes. And he just looks the part too of like Sentry from the comics. Like,
No, so I texted my friend as soon as he walked down the stairs. I was like, comic accurate Sentry costume, and then I looked at closer. I'm like, and they dyed his hair, and then I shit you not, no less than 10 seconds later, I forget if it was Ghost or Florence Pugh was like, "Did you dye your hair?" Literally 10 seconds after I sent it.
so good. One thing I did take away from this, and this is coming from somebody who has yet to watch the second Ant-Man movie. It's on my to-do list. It's just something
Third Ant-Man movie?
Second. I've not seen the original Ant-Man and the Wasp from 2018.
Okay.
So I don't know all about Ghost, but I do know Ghost is a very polarizing MCU quote unquote villain from that movie. Doesn't really like do much for people.
Yes.
Kind of felt a little redeemed in this movie.
See, my problem with saying she's redeemed is like that movie's so forgettable in a way where it's like it can only go up from there. So I don't think she had as much room to jump compared to other people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like fully like redeemed character, like
No.
this character makes sense, but like it felt like this movie in particular like gave that character like a purpose almost.
Yes, even though I will say she was by the end fifth wheel. Sorry, we have Yelena. I'm counting Bob in that.
Yeah.
U.S. Agent. Bucky. And that's not even counting the spritzing in of Red Guardian and stuff. Like she is like fifth,
Yeah,
and I think that's to her advantage instead of trying to be a pseudo heavy.
agree.
Speaking of Bucky, he kind of feels shoehorned into this. He like while he works in the sense of like legitimizing the Thunderbolts, he's definitely the one who feels like just the whole him being the senator and him attempting the political machinations and him being the worst PR trained senator in history, and like how did you lose to this dude? Like in the back third, he works for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really not working in the early stages for me.
Yeah, and this again comes from me not having seen Brave New World at the time of this recording.
I
So
haven't seen it either.
So I don't know how much of that plays into, because I do know obviously they have an interaction. Bucky and Sam Wilson have an interaction in that movie. But I don't know how much of that like bleeds into this movie per se that is overall important. I will say I get the utilization of Bucky, especially when we get to the end credit scene. And it feels like he's the anchor to the multiple factions we're going to get in the MCU moving forward, which I like because of the type of character he's been throughout the MCU's history.
Before we get to Yelena, I want to circle back to Lewis Pullman for a second. The moment where he realizes Valentina has no control over him, truly great.
Oh yeah,
truly great of him just being like, I don't have to kill them. They're no threat to me. Why do I have to listen to you? You can't control me. And her just being like, fuck.
that felt very Thanos meets Ultron.
Yes. My lone qualm is I felt like we got there pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it was a great moment where she's like, shit, I didn't think it would happen this quick.
Also, I don't know about you, but as we got to the one scene, the asterisk took on a whole new meaning for me.
Yeah, I know that was see, because we were all thinking like, oh, Thaddeus Ross, and it's like, nope, childhood soccer team that won 0 games and the girls shit on the field.
Well, there was that part, but also the scene when they're in the place that Val's trying to burn to the ground, and they're all climbing up together.
Yeah,
I just viewed them as a human asterisk.
Oh, that. Where's my brain going with this? Before we probably wrap up this main story conversation, when it comes with Yelena and U.S. Agent, in the best way possible, I loved the headspace geography of the Void.
Yes.
Like it made me think of Inception.
Yes.
And in terms of all these interlocking spaces and going down, up, and sideways, I'm like, like this is a fun interpretation of what being in one's what being in one's head is like, and just being trapped, and you're like breaking through one thing and then you're falling through the floor of the next place. And the geography was great. And when everyone finally shows up, and Bucky's like, I don't have a troubling past. It's fine. I was able to get through it.
So as that scene's going on in my viewing of this movie, this girl a couple seats down from me, as soon as he says that line, goes, "It's funny because he does have a troubling past."
movie theater etiquette, folks.
Oh, so goddamn funny.
But I kind of want to close on a pair here of Yelena and US Agent, and now we're obviously gonna spend more time on one of these than the other. But this is like the first proper John Walker we've gotten in 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's nice to kind of see what being a fuck up as Captain America does to a man mentally and personally, and the trickle down effects of that, and him in a way finding new self-worth, especially in the scene at the facility when the void triggers that. You're like, oh no. Like, White Russell also gets some of the best banter where he just has true himbo moments.
Yes. I also like going into this, like knowing that he was going to be part of the cast. I was like, okay, he's one of the first from TV show to big screen characters we've gotten that weren't like previously known. Like obviously we got like Kamala Khan in the Marvels and everything, but
Wyatt Russell's also just an extremely underrated actor.
yes. And I was like curious how they were going to utilize him in this team up. I fucking loved every minute of it. Like he's perfect for this. His banter back and forth with Yelena is amazing.
I mean, this is what happens when you've worked on Richard Linklater films. Like you very much know how to do that stuff. Which everyone go watch Everybody Wants Some, specifically because it's a movie about a college baseball team that has Glenn Powell, that has Wyatt Russell, and it has Tyler Hoechlin, the guy who played Superman on Superman and Lois, all as like not the top two billed people. It is a wonderful movie.
And I mean, like you said, Florence Pugh to the moon. To the moon,
love.
And I just fucking love me some David Harbour. And
David Harbour just plays shades of David Harbour at this point.
He's so goddamn funny. I love him so much.
So I don't want to breeze through Florence Pugh here because I think fundamentally in this post Endgame sphere, is she the best character in the MCU? Because not only is she the one who's gotten, I would argue, the most character development between Hawkeye and this movie, and technically Black Widow, right? Mm-hmm. So she's gotten the most projects by far. She's basically taken the Tony banter. She now has the Tony banter. She of all the characters has been given she's talented, and I feel like we're throwing her in the driver's seat here. She feels like, and listen, all due respect to Anthony Mackie, but Florence Pugh feels like the one who's got to be in the driver's seat at this rate. Like she's not only a beloved young actress on the younger side of the scale.
Mm-hmm.
She is the most relatable character in the MCU, especially with what she went through in this movie, and just being like still dealing with the grief of her sister dying and literally being snapped away during it, and struggling to find purpose in her life outside of her job, and finding her new family and finding her new purpose while also finding her new job and serving the country. Like it's Yelena is a deeper character than Natasha ever was.
100%.
And I'd argue that she's in across the 3 projects, she's one of the most enjoyable, and the one who's like, I just want to, I want you in everything, just bantering with everyone. Like, I literally think she has the Tony spot now.
It's a good question. Like, the only other character that comes to mind, and obviously we still have loose ends with this character, but I feel like he's also in a front-facing portion of where we are right now. Like, and it's more so like Yelena is that street level type because of the character that she is, but also now when we see what happens here, like, who knows where her character is going to continue to evolve. The only other character I can think is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but the problem is we haven't had much character development with Doctor Strange, and he's on a side quest now that we'll never know what happens with Charlize Theron showing up. You're like, I need your help, and it's like, okay, like it, like while I think Doctor Strange has more traditional leader to him, his place feels unsettled. Similarly, for me, and it's not as bad as this, but like in the Thor way, where I'm like, I don't know what your job is now. I don't know how you fit into this puzzle anymore without Cap and Tony, because everything is so scattered now. I don't know how you fit into this Jenga puzzle. Whereas, like, with these 2 warring Avenger factions, for the lack of a better phrase, and we know Shang-Chi has interacted with Wong and Doctor Strange, so maybe there's something weird going there. But it's they are outside the settled units that we have, and we don't. And it's hard to see how they fit in nicely at this point, especially because we likely won't see any of them until Doomsday.
And I guess the only other character too on top of that, but it feels like his story until Doomsday is kind of
Ant-Man.
bow on top. I was gonna say Loki. That feels like the only other character that we've gotten full frontal character development from his show and where he's wound up.
He's see, the problem with him for me is he dates all the way back to Phase 1. So while it's like we knew what Loki was, we just got him to a different, like, to me, Loki's more like he got through a midlife crisis and now understands his purpose. Whereas, like,
a glorious purpose at that.
yes, yeah, true. Whereas with Yelena, it's like someone coming into their own.
Yeah, I agree. I do think, like, when it's all said and done, we get a new Avengers team, she's fully going to be a part of that. And not new Avengers by what we'll talk about, but like the next iteration, I should say, of what the Avengers will look like.
Shall we talk about the post-credit scene now?
Can I just say, with the post-credit scene, more post-credit scenes like this. More like this. I was talking to my dad about this, where since Marvel has come back into our lives post-Pandy Wandy, the post-credit scenes, I'm going to
Loose
rattle them
ends.
off. I'm going to rattle them off for the people. We have not gotten answers on a metric shit ton of them. Number one, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We still don't know what the fuck those 10 rings are doing 4 years later. Eternals. We have no idea
Blade?
where Blade, Harry Styles. We have no clue. I don't know why I'm blanking on what the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene was, but
Oh no. I mean, that was basically just no one knows Peter anymore.
right. It was
And
that,
Venom.
and then
And Venom.
it was Venom, and then they just showed a trailer for Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Where the fuck is Hercules? Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm fine with the way that ended because it just introduced young T'Challa and like
Just recast the fucking character.
yeah.
Just recast the fucking character.
LOL Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Well, shit.
Guardians 3, I was totally fine with because it lets you know who the new
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy were. That's the best one in my opinion so far. The Marvels, I understand the post-credit scene with Monica because it's setting up her being in the X-Men universe. You're not exactly there yet, but I'm fine with where that stood. Deadpool and Wolverine, hilarious.
Burn it.
I don't know. Captain America: Brave New Worlds, post-credit scene, and then the Thunderbolts.
Okay,
More like this. Let it set up your next film that's coming after this one.
Quickly explain the post credit, Kyle. Because here's
So,
where I'm gonna unleash my take.
do you like Wheaties, Christian?
Shitty cereal, but whatever.
I love that. I love the comedic shit. It reminded me of the pizza ball guy from Multiverse of Madness.
I'm sorry, pizza ball guy, sir. That is legendary Sam Raimi co-collaborator and star of the Evil Dead movies, Bruce Campbell. Anyway,
but it reminded me of that scene where it's like comedic relief, still keeps the character in your frontal view. But then we get the end credit scene, and we've got the new Avengers in their new outfits 14 months later. And
Bob is still trying to learn to fly a sentry and not trigger the void.
Bob does the dishes though.
He's a good roommate.
Also, first Marvel movie in a long fucking time that featured like real corporate sponsors? Question mark.
I got a real kick out of that where it was like Xbox, whoa, Tide, whoa.
We had Wheaties, we had
well, I mean we Wheaties is fine because like they've made a whole promotional bit out of that. But it was like, and now shout out to Underground Circuit here, but it's like, David Harbour, are you jumping in a NASCAR?
Literally. That was very funny. We get new John Walker outfit, yet his shield still looks like a taco.
Truly great.
Ghost, that wig was wigging. And then Yelena uses her little iPad. We cut to the visual, and then we have back and forth before the visual pops up about Bucky meeting with Sam. It goes poorly.
Copyrights
on the Avengers name. Who's the real Avengers? My first takeaway from this is like, okay, who the fuck is Sam's Avengers team going to be? But on top of that, we get the visual. Hello, Fantastic Four.
Okay, now here's where I'm letting it. on the surface level, I don't have the problem with doing this. With all the trailers and shit, and with just the vibes off of it, I have no reason to see Fantastic Four now. That world is dead as a fucking doornail, brother. That world is dead as a doornail, and they're escaping because they can't save the world. It is toast. Galactus is eating that world, and they are ending up here. And then we're into Doomsday.
While part of me is like, I anticipated that from the jump, part of me is also like, they can't be that stupid.
Have you watched the last 4 years?
Yeah, but part of me also is I get the teasing of the Fantastic Four.
Same.
It's your next movie as well. And it's just another portion of factions now between your X-Men, your Sam Wilson Avengers, your Yelena Avengers, and then the Fantastic Four coming into play. I just to me, there's a reason they showed that. And
yes, but like at the same time, we're staring at this and it's like, okay, let's imagine they do beat Galactus. Is Doctor Doom showing up as one lone Doctor Doom enough to make them go shit and fly to essentially what's probably a spin the wheel dimension, and they land here? Like, let's think this through. Like, what causes them to piss off to another dimension if they defeat Galactus? Tangibly, what can motivate them?
which, like, we already know going into Fantastic Four, they're in a different timeline.
Yes. Which
But
I already have my own, like, I at this retrofuturism is doing nothing for me. But that's a whole nother thing where it's like I'm also maybe Pedro Pascal'd out at this point, where it's just like he's in too much stuff. But like
I don't know, like, because the most recent Fantastic Four trailer too just shows you a lot that obviously not all of it's going to be in the movie. I just think in the back of my head there's a reason they showed that, and it's with good purpose and intent.
Yeah, it was funny though, because I had seen people say like, don't read the credits if you don't want it spoiled for you, and I just look up during the songs, and I see the last song being Fantastic Four First Steps theme by Michael Giacchino. I'm like, well, shit. I know what the post credit scene is now.
Yeah, I mean, the end credit scene has my brain in a bunch of places, just thinking about Sam Wilson's Avengers now and who the fuck are they, because there's a plethora that you could pull from. But we'll get to that once we go through the movie and everything.
Let's give our grades.
I thoroughly enjoyed this, from that opening scene of Yelena jumping off the building, parachute, boom, steals a hamster. Also,
I really enjoyed how she just like, I'll take the hamster.
I don't know why my brain, I guess just from like MCU everything, when she said Ox at first, I thought she said Oz, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't think Oscorp existed. in this universe. But then I saw the ox on the paper, and I was like, okay, I just misinterpreted what was said. I loved Yelena sending all of them to just go kill them.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. R.I.P. Taskmaster, gone but never forgotten, but probably forgotten.
Gone but mostly forgotten.
I think that will also be a character in the MCU that it's just like a mantle type character that somebody else will pick up the mantle of Taskmaster if they ever want to bring it back, because it's easy to do that. I love the way that Sentry was portrayed. I genuinely think it was such a good interpretation of the character from the comics. It was a great on-screen interpretation. And Christian, guess what? We got a loose end tied up in this movie. We know who bought Avengers Tower finally.
And they're going to spend another 16 years rebuilding it.
That to me was like, finally, we finally know who Peter Parker was soaring through that building and who it belongs to. I mean, like I said, I enjoy David Harbour a lot. He is the man. I love his character. But like you said, like that's a good call by you, the way that the inner workings of the brain and the head was very Inception-y, and like the angles that they used and the turning of the screen, turning of the rooms, very, very cool. Something I don't think we've really ever seen in the MCU.
Give me a number. Stop vamping. Stop vamping.
I'm gonna vamp all I want.
Brother, I have to wake up in the morning for work.
So do I.
Don't vamp.
Nine two.
Okay, so I'm going to give the two scales here. MCU scale, I'll give it like a 9.1. Actual movie scale, 7.6. Like, my problem with trying to grade MCU movies is I don't think I've given one higher than an 8 on a normal scale, but they're all sitting at 7s or 8s for the most part, and it's me going, okay, well, if I have Black Panther, Endgame, and all that at 7, pardon, if I have all that at 8, and I have like Multiverse of Madness and stuff at 7, is this the higher end of 7, or is this the lower 8? And I think I just land on the higher end of 7 just because I'm like scared to round up in terms of having to input a single number grade.
Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, for somebody who has been waiting for this movie for years, I don't know if I could have asked for much better. The way that the characters were portrayed, the way that the story unfolded, and the way that we progressed with the end credit scene. I fucking love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Also, I'm sure you got an absolute hoot out of her on the red carpet, and then her post interview saying she had no idea who the Rizzler was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. Go see Thunderbolts. It's very, very fun, very, very entertaining. And again, if you want to let us know your thoughts on the movie, drop a comment in the comment section or leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/StreamerSZN. That is all we've got. Fun episode here. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN and StreamerSZN Pod on TikTok. Subscribe to the pod. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of every show on our network. So subscribe to the youtube.com/ at Underground Sports Philadelphia. And this has been another edition of Streamer Season, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Christian, I'm KB. We'll see you back on the next episode, breaking down the more of The Last of Us, and who knows what else we'll have on the docket. But until next time, we are going to go survive a clicker zombie invasion with our new Avengers. Peace.